Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead, and we are talking about natural remedies. This one is something people are really interested in, natural remedies for hair loss. Most of us don't like losing our hair. My hair is getting thinner and thinner, and are there some things that people can potentially do, maybe dietary or herb-wise, that can help out? Give us some thoughts, Lee.
Yeah, so one of the things I found is been the most helpful for hair growth is nettle. That is your common stinging nettle, Urtica doeca, and it's actually the most nutritious herb. Some well-known herbalists say it's number one on the list as far as nutritional requirements. And one of the things it's got in there is biotin, okay, and it's got lots of B vitamins. And it's very nutritionally supportive. It actually has vitamin B, C, D, E, K, and A. It's also loaded with minerals. And yeah, so nettle is probably one of the best ones that I know of.
You just run outside, grab it, and stick it in your mouth?
Oh, you got to be careful.
Okay. No, you don't go grab stinging nettle just with your bare hand.
Yeah, you want to cook it. In fact, if you touch stinging nettle, it's going to sting you. It's got some little formic acid chemicals on the barbs of those leaves. But if you cook it or dry it or make a tea out of it, it will actually take away the allergy it caused you.
Yeah.
And nettle, by the way, is one of the best things for allergies. Seasonal allergies, it's amazing. It's got natural antihistamines in there which can help reduce those.
Yeah, somebody told me that they had seasonal allergies every year. They started taking nettle, and I think they told us that just after that they were fine. They could go through the season without the troubles.
Yes, it's an amazing herb. And another couple of other herbs I'd recommend for hair growth is ashwagandha and rhodiola. Okay, now they're both what we call adaptogens. So adaptogens will help mitigate the cortisol effects. They also help with adrenal function. They're often very immune enhancing. We've always joked about how stress causes hair loss. And now we know it does because of high levels of cortisol, which cause the hair follicle to weaken and we start losing our hair. So those herbs are fantastic for that because if it's stress induced, or if there's sex hormones that are changing that could be supported by these herbs, then potentially it can cause the hair to actually grow back. And one of the things we found is a lot of people with hypothyroidism end up having hair loss. And so this is how I actually got involved in this, is because I was helping some ladies with their thyroid gland, and they were telling me their hair was growing back. And so I did some investigation into some of those herbs and discovered that there was scientific literature to support the use of these herbs for hair growth. Now, I would say that there's not one herb that works 100% of the time for 100% of people. And there are other causes of hair loss that these may not be helpful for.
Give us some examples of things that could cause it.
Yeah, so if you have radiation damage, for example, or if you tighten your hair. A lot of ladies tighten their hair and it can
ponytail real tight.
Yeah, that can cause damage to their hair beds.
So be careful with the ponytails, how hard tight you do them, ladies.
Yes, and then there's chemicals that are often in products that we can put on our hair, or maybe even heavy metals that could be a cause of hair loss. But if it's nutritional or stress-induced or maybe even sex hormones being changed, that's where we see the greatest benefit by using those herbs.
Oh, fantastic. How about dietary issues or anything there could help there?
Yes, there are some things we can take. So things that are high in B vitamins, especially biotin, is extremely good. And those are things like in green leafy vegetables, for example. Things like kale, some of the cruciferous vegetables are good for that. And this is one of the reasons why I mentioned nettle, because it's very good for that. And then also silica, things that are high in silica. Now that brings me to another couple of herbs, which is horsetail is a good source of silica, and also oat straw is another one. So foods that are high in nutritional elements and also fatty acids, like omega-3 fatty acids, very good for the hair. And also foods that will help balance your hormones.
So back to the omega-3, would you go
yes.
like flaxseed?
I would recommend flaxseed.
And you have to grind chia seed.
Yeah, or flaxseed oil is another good one. And some ladies actually use coconut oil, and they put it in their hair and massage it in, and it's very good for the hair. Some people use evening primrose oil as well. It's another one that's very good for not only hair growth, but also for hormones.
Is that on the skin, or is that internally?
No, that's something you can take internally.
Okay.
Yes. So diet has a lot to do with it, because when we go through hormonal changes, then that could actually be caused or exasperated by the foods that we eat. So things that could be endocrine disruptors, for example. There are a lot of things that we take in our bodies that are chemicals that mimic the body's natural hormones, and we can find this in a lot of processed foods. We can find it in canned foods like BPAs, for example. They are high in what we call endocrine disruptors. There are things that we can smell, like phthalates, that are in candles and different shampoos and perfumes and things like that can be endocrine disruptors. So there are elements where these can actually transition into our food, and even into some of our drinks as well. And things like bottled water, for example, could have endocrine disruptors. So I would recommend people look at what they're eating, see if there's any endocrine disruptors in there that could be causing these hormonal changes, and then trying to eliminate those. And then also using a water filter is very, very helpful. And then also avoiding chemicals that they put directly on their hair. So if you're using shampoos, which 100% people usually using shampoos, some kind of conditioner, I'd recommend you get as natural as possible.
You know, and one of the things dietarily, balding before the age of 40 is a greater predictor of having cardiovascular disease than even being obese. And meaning the standard American diet, which is a mixture of a lot of fat and a lot of sugar together. You put those two things together, and that creates havoc in our bodies, and that's why getting closer to a whole food diet instead of all these refined junk foods, that's another thing that can be a factor. Well, you've produced a extract of some of these different things together.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes, so we have a herbal extract with vegetable glycerin, and we use the nettle, we use the ashwagandha and the rhodiola in there. And so far we've had very good results. You can go on our website and look at the reviews of people who've tried it. We don't have any bots that we put this information on there.
You're not paying the people to give us 5-star reviews.
That's right. You know, I was a little cautious about putting this out because I didn't want to be seen as some gimmicky herbalist.
Like it's going to work for every single person.
Snake oil, you know. But we found that most people get results. Now, what I mean by that is that for some people, it may be that they're stopped thinning or their hair's slowly grown back. For other people, they see dramatic changes. And we've had people who have even bald, who've been completely bald for years, whose hair's grown back as a result of that. So,
you know, right along with that, and I share with people because we put on seminars about the gut-brain connection. We do seminars teaching people about the science of herbs and natural remedies. And we tell people, look, try something. I'm a big believer, especially if it's something that's safe. That doesn't mean everything's going to work. And I even tell them, what I'm sharing with you might work and it might not.
Right.
But the point is, if you try it. So I went through 11 years of depression, and I tried, you know, this doctor would suggest this supplement or this or that or whatever. And I tried a bunch of things and nothing worked. And finally, for me, it was a dietary change because I had gut issues. I had been overseas and got stomach trouble. And when my gut healed, my mind healed, and it just, by God's grace, overcame the depression. And in saying that, I'm glad I never stopped trying things. And I'm not saying, you know, if you tried 50 things for your hair and it's not working, maybe just give it up. I'm not here saying you got to do this or that or whatever. Some of these things are more important than others. Like depression, that's a serious issue, you know. And hair loss can be a serious issue too. I mean, especially for women, it's worse, guys. You know, my hair keeps falling out. I'm going to try it. We're going to see how it goes. And
Yes.
if not, I'll shave my head sooner or later. So you might get to see me shaved head. But hopefully it'll work. And the point is, I try different things in life. And if they're safe things, it's not something you have to worry about. You give it a try. If it works, great. And if it doesn't, well, you move on and try something else.
That's right. That's right.
So, well, anything else, Lee, before we go?
I was going to say there are other benefits to taking these herbs as well, because it's very helpful for reducing inflammation in the body. So they have these adaptogens in there which lower the cortisol, which means that the sugar isn't continually high, and it means that the brain is able to function a little bit better because the sugar spikes aren't there. And also it's helpful for the neuroendocrine system. So you may feel more energy. There may be other side effects, good side effects, that come about as a result of that.
And
besides
I know
hair growth.
you're not doing what most herbalists are doing, or many, I should say, is just throwing a bunch of caffeine in things and like, oh, no, I feel so much energy. It's like, you don't use it, you're not using caffeine.
No,
in
we don't
everything,
use any caffeine at all.
So, well, Lee, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a link down in the description and down in the comment section. So if you want to check out some of the natural remedies that Lee Wellard has at the American Herb Shop, check those out down below. And once again, they make them themselves. They're not sending it off to China. So check it out. God bless and have a fantastic day.